There are 3 key elements your body has to be capable of to make a consistent golf swing. And in this video, we're going to make them as simple as possible and give you the movements and drills to improve. So many golfers struggle going round to round, creating a repeatable swing that delivers the results they want to see. Sometimes we feel good and the ball is going exactly where we want it to go. Next time we tee it up, it could be different and we don't know why. Think about the best players in the world. They have physical therapists, they have programs, they have coaches, they have all the resources possible to keep their body in the best shape possible to play consistent golf. That's where we want to get you to, and we're going to break the swing down to 3 key elements. We're going to look at backswing loading, we're going to look at the magic move in transition to get into that impact position, and then we're going to look at the finish for an overall awareness of your balance, stability, and again, the repeatable nature of your golf swing. We're going to keep it simple. We're going to look at the body as opposed to positions in the swing because those are a different element. We want to get you moving well, feeling good, and playing better golf, so the 3 key factors are going to help you do that. Factor number 1 is the backswing. A lot of golfers correctly focus on the shoulder turn. We want to get to that 90-degree position or potentially more if your mobility allows. That gives you the speed and the power to get it done. However, when golfers focus on this and not the lower body, which is where our focus is going to be, you can so very easily get out of position. We can collapse, we can lead the swing with our arms, and that's going to impact our transition on the way down. That's factor number 2, but think of it like this. Very simply, your downswing is going to be a reflection of your backswing. So if we lead with the arms going back, you're probably going to lead with the arms coming down, and we get out of whack pretty quickly. So what we want to look at is how you use the lower body. Because with that stability, you can then build consistency and repeatable movements. So when we start to turn off the ball, instead of thinking about the club and the shoulders, what we want to think about is an immediate shift of pressure into the trail leg. We're not going laterally, we're not swaying side to side, but once we start the takeaway, we want to feel as though pressure goes into the trail leg and it's going to very slightly extend, straighten. That means your hips are rotating. It also means that the lead leg is going to move down. Just a natural balance between the 2 sides. So as we turn back, the first feel is that once we load that trail foot, the lead knee is going to work down towards your trail foot. This sets the hips, the position, and the stability of your lower body to then allow the upper body to continue its rotation, to stretch all of the musculature through the lead lats, all of the big muscles here, and actually give you a position where the muscles then want to create your transition. More on that later, but basically that gives you a great feel. Physically, it gets you in the best position, and it means that the swing is going to take care of itself into those sequencing elements. A great way to get this done is the backswing loading drill. Now what we're trying to do here is load and turn our upper body against the lower body. I like to feel 2 key things. Number 1 is that the left shoulder goes behind the ball. You'll hear almost all players talk about this. And number 2, for me, I like the feel of really rotating the core against my trail quad. Okay, that gives me the feeling of stretch and load to get into a really strong, powerful position. This drill is going to give you both. Okay, you can do this with any club in the bag, but very simply, you're going to take your standard posture as if you were going to hit the shot, and then you're going to place a ball in line with your trail foot. From here, we set the club up. We're obviously not going to hit from here. This is just a drill to give you the feel and the turn. And from here, we're going to wind up, immediately focusing on those 2 things we talked about. Loading down into the right foot and then trying to move our left shoulder in line with the ball. So you can see there, I'm turning against that trail leg. We're looking at the ball. We've got a huge shoulder turn, but my lower body is active and creating that resistance. So then we can use the ground and change direction. So we go again, ball in line with the trail foot. We take our backswing, we load and look at the ball with that left side. You can see we're retaining good width. We've got a really strong turn, powerful body positions, and that's going to give you consistency as well. You can see from the swing over here, These are the mechanics that are going to build the foundation of your swing. And if you can't replicate this position, if our legs are not doing enough, any inefficient movement is going to mean you're not returning the club to the ball in the same way. That leads to inconsistency, and that leads to inconsistent golf. Factor number 2 is building on factor number 1, and now we look at the transition. So that means that loaded backswing is super important because our transition is going to decide how well we hit the ball. Okay, the best players in the world, we know they sequence, we know that they lead with the lower body, the club stays behind, and they can impact the ball with the right type of angle of attack, up on the driver, down with the irons, and that leads to incredible ball striking time after time. Too many amateurs, too many everyday golfers are going to pull down with the upper body. So we get to the top, we don't have that reference point, we don't have that separation of the lower body, we pull down over the top, and anything can happen from there. Some days you'll hit a slice that ends up in the fairway, some days you'll drop it right in the slot and hit good shots, and some days you won't hit good shots at all. Okay, we want to reduce that, we want to help you play consistent golf, and that is where this magic movement comes in. Now, as we get to the top, because we've now got active legs, what we want to feel is that legs are going to start the downswing, okay? The simplest feel here is that we squat into the position, okay? So once we get to the top of the backswing, if we flex our knees and let our hips move down, that's going to reduce the chance of that early extension and the throwing of the club out in front of our body, okay? The squat feel, matched with all of the forces and the rotation you have going on, is going to allow you to engage the legs, use the big muscles, get down into the ground so you get all of those reactionary forces, and yes, deliver the club more consistently and with more power as well. So keys here, number 1, it is technical. We need to feel as though we get to the top, and that is where that backswing loading drill comes in. Until your left shoulder moves behind the ball, we don't pull down. Take your time, get patient, and then once you feel that you're fully loaded, then we go down before we rotate into the ball. That is huge. So is your hip mobility and your glute activation. Okay, so we talk about this all the time. You'll see it with the best players in the world, you see it with everybody else. Tight hip flexors and weak glutes are going to reduce your ability to stay in posture and to create power and sequencing in the swing. Because if they're not taking the load, they're going to want to straighten up. That is your early extension, and that's a bad golf swing. Okay, so every day, or at least often, we need to work on loosening the hip flexors and activating the glutes, because then we can hit that kinematic sequence. Just to go over that again, you hear it all the time, but very simply, the sequence is that we load that backswing, again, starting with the legs, we get to the top. Once we get in that position, the magic move is to go down and then rotate, because then the legs lead, the hips are next, through the torso, arms into the club, and the head is the last thing to reach the ball. As we launch into it, the whole body is then working as an efficient system, driving power through the ground all the way through the body. You use the big muscles, you put less stress on the back, and you hit better golf shots. Okay, so here, we want you to work on the hip mobility and the glute activation. We have 2 simple exercises that you can do at home, at the office, or on the course with just a golf club, and it's going to help you every single day. Movement 1 is the lunge with club hold rotation. So take the club out in front, step into a lunge position, the back knee can touch the ground if we need to, and rotate over the lead side. From here, we alternate legs and continue to rotate in the opposing direction. What we're doing here, we're engaging the glutes, we're building lower body balance and stability through that asymmetry, and then we're separating the upper and lower body, hitting all of the key components we just talked about in the swing, and helping you move better. Movement 2 are lateral lunges. This really is about ground forces and hip mobility. Again, hitting on those key points. Club out in front as a reference point for your balance. We take one leg up, try and stay balanced on that single leg. We lunge out to the side to your range of motion, push, and then balance at the top. Lunge, push, and balance. Okay, this is huge for your footwork, huge for your hip mobility, and just like we are in the swing, We're pushing against the ground to create reverse forces, that reactionary force. We're engaging everything, and yes, work both sides. Okay, we want as much symmetry, want as much activation through the big muscles as possible, so that when you get into your downswing, we don't lose posture, we don't lose position and speed. We can stay in the big muscles, we can drive with the legs down into the ground, sequence through into the ball, clear and release, so that you can absolutely rip it. We've built a stable loaded backswing that's better for your body. We learned the transition to help you deliver the club head as optimally as possible, and now we bring it all together by getting into a balanced finish position. It's probably the most simple of all of the factors we've talked about. But being in balance at the end of your swing is two things. Number one, it's a huge amount of feedback as to how efficient and how consistent your body movements were throughout the whole swing. And number two, it can bring awareness to faults, to bad elements of your swing that we want to work on, okay? Because if we find ourselves getting to the end of the swing, and sometimes we're falling backwards, sometimes we're not actually reaching the top of the swing, we're trying to steer the shot, those are all feedback points to tell you that something in the rest of the swing was not working as well as it could have done. So, if we're going to max out our speed, our ball striking capability, and the shots that we hit, we need to be able to get into a full follow through that has a lot of balance and consistency. Okay, it's not just about looking good and dropping a twirl on Instagram. This is about having a free-flowing golf swing where you don't try and control the result. You trust your golf swing, you know that your body positions are consistent, and you deliver the shot required. Okay, so the key elements actually just factor in from what we've already talked about. If we can be loaded going back, there's a good chance we're going to be loaded and have good footwork going through. Okay, those are key elements. Same with your transition. If we find ourselves losing posture here, we've already changed our center of gravity, the club's working away from us, and then we're always trying to catch up, okay? We're going to see instability and a significant loss of balance, okay? So, if we hit factors 1 and 2 well, this really should be quite easy. An excellent drill to do to enhance your speed, balance, and stability at the top end of your swing is the step 2 swing drill. Okay, so this is going to add a dynamic element into your movement. It's great as a warm-up. You can do it at home if you got space, and it's going to improve your sequencing and speed creation. Okay, so the faster we move, the more challenge to our balance. So if you can do it here, you can do it in the full swing. This one's really simple. We're going to start with our feet together. We're going to take a backswing, and then as we get to the top, we're going to step to the target and swing through. Okay, the key is to max out that step to really push against the ground, get those reactionary forces, and also to add speed while staying in balance. So you can see there, we push, turn against it as our hips rotate and release. That's a huge element in terms of a consistent golf swing. We go again, solid grip, solid position, we take our backswing, step, and load. Okay, really, really important that you understand where the feet are at, where our body positions are, and again, that comes down to factors 1 and 2. Down the line to finish it out, we get set, bring the feet together, load, and hit. Those are your 3 key factors, okay? You got 2 drills, you got 2 mobility exercises that can be used at any time of the week to create a more consistent golf swing that delivers you repeatable consistency that leads to better golf. There's a lot of detail in this video, but again, it comes down to those 3 simple factors to go over super quick so you get it dialed in. Number 1, use your lower body to load against the ground and stabilize your backswing. Once you do so, we then want to squat and use our legs even more during transition because the upper body's rotating. We then sequence, keep the club behind, and get into that impact position. And when we do, factor 3, release, and get into that balanced finish. If you do that, your body is going to deliver good results. You can add the technical elements onto this as well. Grip, ball position, all of these different elements are going to impact your flight, but these are the 3 key foundational factors that your body needs to deliver to create a consistent golf swing. A huge element here, outside of those three elements, is your overall golf fitness. The more prepared your body is to deliver the golf swing you want, the more it will. Consistent application of mobility, stretching, training, lifting weights, and basically looking after yourself in the best way possible will deliver the best results short and long term. That's what we do at Golf Wad. So head down into the description, get your 7-day free trial to the app now so you can build a better body and build a better golf swing. We appreciate your time watching the video. Hit like, hit subscribe, tell your friends, and golf strong.